Hello, dear friends. Tonight we're going to talk about potential. We all have infinite, endless potential, and the whole idea of life is to keep unfolding more of that potential. And we can be growing in all kinds of ways and expanding into more of our physical potential, more of our mental potential, more of our emotional potential, and more of our spiritual potential. And ideally, we develop in all areas. And we all have examples of people that have developed particularly well in a certain area in the expense of others. And those are the people that we usually call geniuses. But at the same time, there are people that are geniuses that are equally developed in a couple of those areas. And these areas overlap because essentially all is one. However, not everybody has the desire to develop into more of their potential because it's not always easy. And one thing I've come to understand is that I can see the potential in everybody, especially creative potential and the soul's self expression. But because of the personality we have adopted due to childhood conditioning, a lot of times the potential to us seems like an impossible dream, something that we could never embody because we have those invisible barriers standing between who we think we are and who we think the potential is. Whereas it's all one. And who we think we are is usually not at all who we are. But because of habit and familiarity, we stick to that personality and don't allow it to crumble. And when people go through spiritual awakenings, it's that, or dark night of the soul, when we are introduced to a new way of thinking, being, remembering that clashes with our previous beliefs. And all of a sudden, that old personality structure begins to disintegrate and crumble, and we're left very raw and vulnerable. Like, what is happening? Who am I? And in that loss of identity, and from that zero space again, we can re emerge as more of who we truly are and expand into more of our infinite potential in the same way that the lobster has to shed its shell and for a while be without one to grow into the new one that is bigger and fits it better. However, as I said, not everybody wants to expand into more of their potential because, again, that will require a lot of letting go. And it's work if we want to expand more into our physical potential, we gotta train. If we want to expand into more of our mental potential, we gotta train. If we want to expand more in our creative potential, we gotta train and practice. If we want to expand more into our emotional potential, we need to allow ourselves to feel deeply and not suppress feelings. And same, if we want to expand into more of our spiritual potential, we need to constantly allow to be made and remade and to let go of our idea and sense of self in order to be expanding into bigger one. So yes, everybody has infinite potential, and it's up to each and every one of us of how much into that potential they're going to expand or not. And we can see the potential in others, we can encourage it. But if they're not willing to get out of their own way, there's nothing we can do about it. But focus on expanding our own potential because that's something we can do something about.